Wait! Oh, damn it.
What is it like owning an Audi S5 for a full year? Guys, in this video, I'm going to talk about my Audi S5, what I like about it, what I dislike about it, a few of the modifications that I've done, and most importantly, the financials where I break down how much money a month I'm paying and things like my auto insurance, how much everything costs for maintenance, and then lastly, at the very end, I will do a nice tribute to Doug DeMuro and have my very own John score where I will rate the Audi S5. Before I get started, if you guys could please just take a quick millisecond and hit that like button down below. Really helps the channel out so much, really helps us get seen by more people. Also, quick shout out to my VIP patrons on Patreon for directly supporting this channel and making this video possible. Since last August, I put on a total of 12,820 miles over the span of 370 hours. I was driving an average of 32 miles per hour and I earned an average fuel economy of 20.7 miles per gallon. If you're unfamiliar with Audi's lineup, the S5 is the performance variant of the Audi A5, with the RS5 being the top of the line performance model, which attempts to compete with BMW's M Division and Mercedes-Benz AMG. The S5 has traditionally been a coupe, however Audi has come out with a four-door variant called the Sportback that my brother actually owns right now. And its stock configuration has a 3-liter turbocharged V6 engine that produces 354 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque, utilizing an 8-speed automatic transmission. And that engine will launch the coupe from 0 to 60 in just 4.3 seconds.
I go fast now.
And contrary to popular belief, the S5 is all-wheel drive, sporting Audi's famed Quattro all-wheel drive system. And while all-wheel drive is no replacement for good snow tires, it does help the Audi S5 perform really well in snowy conditions, which is a must-have for me in Pennsylvania, considering that occasionally we do get some harsh winters. With the Stage 1 ECU TCU tune from 034 Motorsport, my Audi S5 produces a whopping 431 horsepower and 567 pound-feet of torque with true launch control and better shift points. Basically, the Stage 1 tune turned my car into the poor man's RS5. So what do I love about my Audi S5 is the ultimate daily driver. It has the performance of a sports car, however, it also has the luxury, practicality, and comfort of a GT car, of a nice grand tourer. While the S5 does sport good performance, it is coupled with an amazing interior. The car features a D-shaped flat bottom steering wheel, carbon fiber inlays, and tons of soft touch material all throughout the cabin. There's diamond stitched Napa leather seats and stitching all across the inside. The seats themselves are sleek and race car-esque. However, they also have luxury features like being heated and a massage function. Guys, there's nothing like finishing a long shift in the ER and then having your car massage you on the whole drive home. There's special interior lighting at night, and the Bang & Olufsen sound system was a must-have for me as I loved the upgraded audio in my prior Audi A3. This one has 19 stereos. What's crazy is that it is mega loud. There is a ton of power in that audio system. Audi has always been about electronics, and the virtual cockpit gives you an amazing driving experience and all the information you need right at your fingertips. Everything also is controlled via an infotainment, which features Apple CarPlay and a few native Audi interfaces. Cargo space is actually much better than my Audi A3, and I never really had an issue with my A3. The S5 far exceeds my needs. You'll be surprised how much stuff you can fit in here. However, the S5 Coupe's cargo space is not as much as the S5 Sportback. What I love most about this car is the exterior, and while I did definitely buy this car for myself, you would not believe how many compliments I've received. If you are all about external validation, then the Audi S5 is right up your lane. Honestly, my favorite angles of the vehicle are the profile and the rear. The huge haunches make the car appear wider and lower to the ground. The 3/4 and top-down angles also look very good. My least favorite angle is actually from the front. I love that my spec comes with the added sport package, which includes 19-inch alloy wheels, red brake calipers, more dynamic steering, adaptive dampers, and a sports rear differential. There's also quad exhaust, built-in mini spoiler, real and fake air intakes, S badging, and chrome all around suits the car very well. And guys, it is a coupe or coupe, however you want to say it, and I like that because I think personally the coupe looks a little bit better than the Sportback. Don't flame me in the comments. I bought the car for myself and I realized that 99% of the time it was just myself in the vehicle. I said, why am I going to cater to other people and get 2 more doors when I don't really need them? The few times that I do have to take people somewhere, Audi does make getting into and out of the vehicle as easy as humanly possible. The back seats are comfortable, so it is doable. Now, what do I dislike about my Audi S5? First and foremost, the color. I know that gray is in vogue right now. A lot of people have gray cars. I don't really care for gray. To be honest, I thought the nicest color on this car was that blue, and since I did go to Penn State, it would have been my Nittany Lion blue. My second favorite color would have been the black. I just love black cars. My last Audi was black, and there's something about just blacking out the whole Audi that is really special. Secondly, on the inside, I'm not a huge fan of tacked on appearance of the infotainment screen, and I actually wish that I could lower it up and down like my previous A3. Luckily, the newer generation Audis have integrated the screen much better, so at least Audi is self-aware that the tack on screen stuff has to end. The maneuverability of the car for its size is actually very good. It can turn on a dime, and it is very easy to do U-turns and K-turns. With that being said, there is a tad bit too much dead space in the wheel, even in sport mode. And auto enthusiasts and auto magazines have said that Audi is less responsive, and you could kind of feel the car being a little bit more disconnected. Yes, you are lower to the ground and you have that road noise and you have that power and performance to kind of feel connected to the drive, but the steering does leave a bit to be desired. Likewise, before my tune, I drove 90% of the time in sport mode. My issue was that the drive mode was next to useless. I mean, it was good for gas mileage. The car wasn't driving and shifting the way I wanted to, the way I would think that an S5 should. And in sport mode, it did exactly that. So I would only find myself in drive mode when I was maybe stuck behind somebody going like 10 or 15 miles an hour under the speed limit, because it was really, to me, that useless. My last gripe with owning an Audi S5 Coupe, guys, it's the Audi dealerships. You know, they pamper you, they spoil you, they make you feel like $1 million when you go there to service your car. My car is still under warranty for 50,000 miles until they figure out that I have that tuned. They'll give you the nicest loaners and everything, but at the end of the day, the service departments make them money. Every time you go to the Audi dealership, they will find a way to extract an extra $600, an extra $1,000 from you. Using the OEM Audi dealership is like a last resort. You know, you really have an issue that no other shop can kind of figure out, or it is obviously where you would go if your car is under warranty or if you have a lease. Modifications, so far, I recently tuned my Audi S5, and in the near future, I'm going to upgrade the standard S5 grille to an RS5 honeycomb grille. I think it suits the car. I will still keep the S5 badging. I'm not trying to impersonate an RS5. I like the honeycomb grille more, and luckily the B 9.5 generation, all of the S5s already have the honeycomb grille. The car just looks nicer with it. I've also considered dechroming the vehicle, adding a light tint, possibly lowering it, changing out the wheels. The world is your oyster when it comes to modifying your Audi. I just think that it is definitely a rabbit hole. If I go and upgrade my wheels, I'm gonna then want to lower my car. I'm gonna then want to add a tint. I'm then gonna want to do a car wrap. And before you know it, I will be $5,000-$6,000 in the hole in terms of modifications for a vehicle that I'm still making car payments on. So it makes no sense to me to spend thousands of dollars on modifying a car when I'm still paying a loan. I think all that type of stuff can come down later in the future once the car is actually paid off. And the thing is, every time I think about modifying my car, I then just see my car stock in the configuration that it is and say, you know, that looks very nice. Like, why am I going to change anything? It looks beautiful the way it is. If I do some crazy mods, maybe I'll make another video for you guys. Now talking about the part that we all love, the financials, guys. This is a quasi financial channel, so I will run you guys through everything about this car. Over the last year, I spent an average of $176 a month on premium gas. I spent a total of $212 on routine maintenance at the Audi dealership. I spent a total of $93 over the last year on car washes. I've paid $65 for my PA state inspection, which is good for 1 year. And I paid about $200 for this front license plate cover. Auto insurance. Auto insurance varies so much depending on your age, your zip code, your driving experience and habits, what type of vehicle you're in. I freaking love Geico. This video is not sponsored by Geico, but they consistently give me the most amount of coverage for the least amount of money. My first 6-month quote with Geico while owning this car was $529. My second 6-month quote was a whopping $622. I guess they realized that a 20-year-old in a sports car is not a wise investment. Just for reference, competing auto insurance brands with similar coverage wanted anywhere from $600 to $1,000. I like to pay just 6 months all up front. You save a little money and you forget about it for 6 months rather than paying month by month. How much did this car cost? The dealership price for the car was $41,997, but then once they added on taxes and fees, it did come out to about $43,000 in total. We put $18,000 down and took out a loan for $26,000, which was to be paid over 60 months at a 2.99% interest rate. And as of the time of making this video, I have $22,500 remaining on my car loan. My car payment is $489, which is less than an honest day's work as a physician assistant in the ER. So in my mind, if I go to work one day, I pay off my car note and a portion of my auto insurance. And I did the math at one point. My auto payments, my auto insurance, my maintenance, including gas, under 7% of my total earnings. If you like cars, then 6 or 7% is an easy pill to swallow. If you don't like cars, then obviously there are cheaper options and routes out there for you. My Audi car loan is actually more money than my student loans at this point. You know, I have really no other debt, so this is the only debt that I've taken on. Now, since this is a quasi-financial related channel, the real finance geeks will say your out the door costs are more than just the car itself, and I agree. I could have spent the $18,000 and bought a car and had no car payment. And then if I invested, let's not say 100% of that money, because I doubt that I would be that disciplined to invest all of it. But if I invested a portion of that car payment to the stock market, it would have been $100,000 by retirement age. I did these numbers before I purchased the car. I knew what I was getting into. So I tell people that are graduating from PA school or college, don't run out and buy a new car just because you have more money. Now guys, for the John score, how does the Audi S5 rank up?
Looking at the weekend category, first we have styling. Styling is the most subjective. The S5 looks better than the average car, but is no Porsche 911, and it earns a 6 out of 10. For acceleration, the stock S5 is no slouch, moving from 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds and earns a whopping 7 out of 10. In the category of handling, the S5 handles better than the modern SUV or run-of-the-mill Toyota, but fares worse than the typical performance car, and it gets a 6 out of 10. Fun factor, the car is certainly fun to drive, but its automatic transmission and dampened steering earns it a 6 out of 10. And lastly, the cool factor. The Audi S5 certainly turns heads and gets compliments, but it is no exotic and earns a 5 out of 10. That gives the 2018 Audi S5 Coupe a total weekend score of 30, on par with the Audi S8, the Porsche 928 GTS, and the Lexus RCF. And now the daily category. Looking at features, the 2018 Audi S5 offers a host of modern amenities, infotainment, keyless entry, and earns an 8 out of 10. In terms of comfort, you have low amounts of road noise, heated and massage seats. The car is stiff, and you will feel some bumps in the road, and it earns a 7 out of 10. In terms of quality, the Audi S5 certainly has high quality materials throughout the interior, and the maintenance is reasonable in terms of luxury marks. It earns a 7 out of 10. For practicality, it is a 2-door coupe with modest fuel economy, and it earns a 4 out of 10. Lastly, value. Audi offers a ton of value with the S5, but compared to something like the GT Stinger or the Q50, you realize there's a 10K premium for the Audi badge alone. It earns a 6 out of 10. That gives the 2018 2018 Audi S5 Coupe a total daily score of 32 out of 50. Add it all up, the 2018 Audi S5 earns a 62 out of 100, placing it up here with cars such as the Lotus Evora GT, the SL65 AMG, and the 2017 Corvette. The Audi S5 Sportback would actually score even higher due to its better practicality.
Long story short, there's a lot to love about the 2018 Audi S5 Coupe. Personally, I think life is too short to drive a car that you do not enjoy. The Audi S5 ticks all the boxes for me. I wanted to take advantage of this window in my life to own one of these, just not worry about it. So I did. Guys, if you've watched this far, please consider subscribing to my channel. The vast majority of people who watch my channel are not subscribed. So if you enjoy this type of content related to money, finance, being a physician assistant, this is the channel for you. Likewise, check me out on Instagram where I share stories of the life of a physician assistant. And guys, as always, stay safe out there. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.